So the first thing, you can go to the class material, and then on this class material here, I have one slide which we will talk about that in a minute. All right, and then I have a book. The book is called Adobe After Effects Classroom. In the book, the basic and advanced motion graphic. All right, so this book will give you the idea of the basic use of After Effects, as well as animate version of that in detail. So when I go with you, we're going to spend around 6 weeks together. Each week we'll working with some easy short um, start for the animation. All right. Okay. So, all right. So this is the book. So I would expect you to review the book after we finish the class, and the book can be a reference for you, so you can use it as your reference guide to if you have some problem. And then this file right here. Okay. So this is the artwork that we're going to use for demonstration of the basic After Effects today. All right. So anyone familiar with Adobe Photoshop?
Yes.
Oh, yes. How many? Can you raise your hand so I know which one? All right, good. All right, RP, right? How to call your name? RP? All right, good. All right, okay. I saw a few. Very good. So you can raise your hand or you can use your electronic hand, whatever. Very good. Okay. So please download that file onto your computer. So I'm going to use that for demonstration. All right. Okay, first we can take a look at the idea of motion graphic and animation. So basically we can animate any image, graphic, character, you know, in After Effects. And then of course we will need to mix some sound and some music on later on. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to open Photoshop on my computer. So all right, okay, open up. One thing about Photoshop and After Effects, right? If your machine do not have enough RAM, if your machine have only 4 GB of memory, or 8 GB of memory, so that means not much. So you might try to open one software at the time to avoid crash your computer. Yeah. All right. Okay, so this is a Photoshop interface, and then I just download the file that we used it for demonstration. Um, okay, the file. Okay, the file is called demo art. Right. Okay, this is a very quick and easy file, right? When you look at it, right, you will see a layer. Uh-huh. The first layer I have is like just a square, it's look like that. Okay, the first layer is called partition, and the second layer we have is just like a flower, and then we call star top, and then another flower we call star bottom, right? Okay, and we also have a background image, look like this. So that is the background. So basically we have four layer on that. So our mission today, I will show you how to, create this still image into animation. All right. Okay. So that our mission today. Okay. So let's take a look at this. So this is a Photoshop file, you know. So it's a Photoshop file, and I can, check the image size. So you can see my image size is quite big, you know. You can see the width is about 2,480 pixel. So that is almost twice of your screen size. Uh-huh. And the height is about 3,508 pixel. Right. So that is the height. So we have amount of the width and the height. And also we plan to animate this. Okay, for instance, I can okay, let me okay. So this image was created in Photoshop. Right. Okay. So now we're going to import this into Adobe After Effects. All right. Okay. So I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to open that in Adobe After Effects. So I open up After Effects. Okay. Like I say, sometimes if you open the file, right, multiple applications simultaneously, and your machine do not have enough RAM, it could crash your memory or your computer to hang up. So I just try to quit unnecessary software that I do not use it at the time. All right. Now I'm just open After Effects. All right. Okay, it's coming. Okay, it's take a bit of time to open the application. Okay, now after you open the application, it's going to look like this, on your computer. We're going to record this event. So in case you need to review it, feel free to come and take a look. So I record the screen and then we'll up to YouTube. So I will give you the link as well. Okay, so in Adobe After Effects, this is the interface of the After Effects. Uh-huh. So what do you have, right? It's just like a normal Adobe application. So it will start from File menu, edit it, and then end with the Help menu. So basically, it's going to ask you, when you get start, you want to create a new composition or open composition from the footage. Uh-huh. So the word new composition is mean you're going to create a new animation. So the first option, okay, let me show you the first option. New composition mean you create anything from the scratch, but new composition from footage mean you create your new project from the file that you create earlier, such as the image from Photoshop, Illustrator, or any other software, something like that. All right. So in this case here, I like to show you the first one option first. So I'm going to create the new composition from the scratch. All right. So click on new. So when you create new, right, it's going to ask you, what size of your presentation will be. After Effects is also designed for broadcasting. So all the preset in After Effects mostly is refer to the screen, the TV, you know. Of course, the TV that available on the market have like the standard full HD, right? And then if you buy a newer model, you could get a 4K. And then if you get like something the latest model on the shopping mall, right? You can get 8K video. So all full HD, 4K, 8K is referred to the amount of pixel that display on the screen. So in this case here, we're going to try the HD TV, which is a standard high definition. So the HD TV is equipped of 1920 pixel in width and then 1080 pixel in height. So that is the pixel dimension of the standard screen, all right? And then is referred to frame rate. Frame rate is mean the amount of still image that moving in 1 second. So that means when you see motion graphic, it means you see a few still image, moving, show you in sequentially, in 1 second. So in this case here, it's going to show you 25 image in 1 second, something like that. All right. And then the time duration is going to start at zero, all zero, all right? And the duration is mean the duration of your animation. The first digit number is referred to hour. Second digit, 2 digit, right? There are 2 digits here. There are 5 group of number. The first one is only 1 digit. It's referred as an hour. And then the second set is referred as a minute. And then the third set is referred as a second. And the last 2 digit is referred as a frame. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how to create 5 second animation, something like that. All right. Okay. Let's do it only 3 seconds. So I'm going to point 0, 3, right? And the frame rate is 25 frames per second. So that will make you easy to calculate how long your animation will be, right? And the color of the background. So when you click on it, right, you could change or you could modify your background color. So in this case here, I'm going to make the background color as a gray, all right, gray color instead of black. So I make it as a gray and then hit OK. All right. All right. Okay. So now you can see this frame right here, right? And then what I like to point out is this icon right here. Okay. This icon, when you click on it, right? When you activate, you can see something called title action save. All right. So this is referred to the area, the outline right here, right? The outer border is referred as the action save area. So you don't want to put any action that you want people to see, beyond this frame right here. Okay. And the second one, right, is called title save area. You do not want to put any of text or title that you want people to read beyond this frame right here. Okay. And also you see two vertical line here. This one is a crop version. If you want your TV content to be compatible with the old style TV, like the old fashioned TV in the past. So you don't want to put your important element beyond this area. But I don't think you need to worry about that part because right now probably all that TV in that period, right, is very rare to find. You know, you not be able to find it quite easily anymore. All right. Okay. So far, any question? No. All right. Okay. Good. So now I'm going to show you a basic animation transform in After Effects. All right. In After Effects, right, it give you they call transform. All right. The way that you can animate things in After Effects. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to explain about the tools up here. You can have a home tools. You can have like a selection tools, you know, and on each tool you will see the letter, integrated with the tools. For example, selection tools, right? You will see the V. Uh-huh. V is a shortcut for selection tool. So how you can access it? You press V on your keyboard and then you can jump. The cursor will jump. For example, like if I my hand tool is H, right? I can press H on the keyboard like that. So now it's automatically switch the cursor into hand tools. And then if I press V, you can see the hand is swapped back to the cursor again. So this is a good shortcut. So you're going to see a bunch of shortcut on here. All right. And then, okay, now I'm going to create some basic shape, a star. Okay. I create the star right here. Okay. So when I draw the star, right, you can see the star come with the stroke. And the stroke is about 2 point. Now I can increase the stroke, make it bigger. Okay, or I can just type in the amount of the pixel of the width. So I can make like 10 pixel stroke. All right. So right now I have a red star with the white stroke on that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you, what I can do on this, right? Okay, what I can do on this. So when you select the subject, right? Okay, when I select the subject and you see the window below here, we call timelines. Okay, this window we're going to use to create animation. All right, and we have this line right here. We call this blue stripe line here, we call it current time indicator. Okay, so to tell you the current time that you want, something like that. All right, so normally we start the time from the 0 and then it's go all the way to 3 seconds. Okay, so we have 3 second animation on that. And then what else you see? When you select the subject, right? The subject that you want to animate. When you select it, you're going to see something called transform, right? On your option, how to create, how to access it. So you can click on the arrow key right here. So when you click on the arrow key, right? The arrow key will expand. Okay. Inside the arrow key, you will see the content and you see transform. Okay. And what you can do, you can look at the transform by expand the arrow key on the transform. So on the transform here, you will see 5 transform effects. Okay. These 5 transform effect is start from anchor point, position, scale, rotation, opacity. All right. They have 5 transform effects for you. So what is all this about, right? Okay, I'm going to go one by one. All right. Let's start with anchor point. Uh-huh. What is anchor point? Anchor point is the register point of your objects. Okay. So in this case here, when I draw the star, right? Doesn't matter where I draw it. Uh-huh. The anchor point is automatically default at the center of your screen. Okay. And then what anchor point will affect you? All right. I will tell you what the anchor point will affect your animation on the next one. Okay. Um, the second one, all right, the second one is called position. Position is defined by x and y coordinate, right? The x is mean the horizontal of your screen from the top left corner to the right hand side. So we call this is x coordinate, right? And the y coordinate is the vertical, right? And the z coordinate is something that closer to you or something far away to you. And then the scale. The scale, you can reduce the size of the object and enlarge the size of the object. All right. So it's scale, the normal scale is 100%. If you use something less than 100%, you're going to reduce the size of the object. If you enlarge, you increase the number of the scale by, bigger or greater than 100%. Then rotation, okay? Rotation is start with two set of number. The first number is come with the x, right? X we call like time, you can say rotation one time, you say 1x. So rotation 1x is mean you rotate one object, in 360 degree. So we call one times, right? If you want to rotate twice, you can just point in 2x, right? And then the second set of the number is the degree, in case you want to rotate, you don't want to rotate the whole round, right? So you want to rotate only 45 degree, for example, you can rotate only 45 degree like that, 45 degree or 90 degree, sorry. Yeah, something like that. Now the last one is opacity. So that allow you to make object appear or disappear, okay, by adjusting the amount of opacity. The opacity 100%, the object will be appear. But if the object is 0%, it means you're not going to see anything. All right. Any questions so far? So you understand everything? Very good. All right.
Yes, no questions.
Thank you. That's nice. Uh-huh. Thank you for you to respond because if you do not respond, I will feel, oh, maybe I talk to myself. All right. Okay,
Okay, we
so
will respond.
thank you. You will okay, let me go back to anchor point again. Okay. So right now you can see the anchor point is just right on the center right here, right? And then when you rotate it, you see what happened? Can you see? The rotation center is just on the screen, all right? Because the anchor point is right on the screen, okay? But if you want to rotate the star, maybe you don't want to rotate like this, right? Okay, so now let me undo. You can press Control Z, or Control C to undo it like that. All right. Now I'm going to adjust the anchor point. All right. I can adjust by number by clicking the X number like that and the Y number, which is the second set. So now what I did, right? I adjust the anchor point to center of my object. Okay. So now this time, if I rotate the object, right? If I rotate the object, you see what happened. So this is most likely, right? That you expect something like that. See? All right. So now this is the anchor point. Why anchor point become important? Because sometimes you want the register point of the object, not the center, or you want some particularly on the maybe on the some at the end of the object or at the beginning of the object. For example, if you want to articulate your hand, right? Where is anchor point of my hand? My hand. Yeah, is the top or the bottom or the center?
The center.
The anchor point is right here on the bottom, right? If my hand rotates center, it's going to look like the star. Look like the star like this, like that, right? But of course, if you rotate the star, the anchor point below is going to look very funny, right? Uh-huh. So that's why it allows you to, to modify your anchor point, or you can even animate your anchor point as well. All right. Okay. So now, let me explain one more tip. You see five transform, right? If you want to access it, sometimes you don't want to, to come and click it a few times like this. It takes a lot of time. You need to move your mouse and click on it. Sometimes you work faster by pressing the shortcut. For example, if I want a shortcut of the anchor point, I can press A, like this, A on the keyboard for anchor point. And if I press A twice, so the anchor point is gone. Okay. A for anchor point, P for position, P for position. You see? So when I press P, the P appear. And if I press it again, the P disappear. Okay. And then S for scale, S for scale. Okay. If I want to scale, make it bigger or smaller, I use S. And then R for rotation. Okay. R for rotation. And then opacity. And this one is quite different. When you do opacity, right? Instead of O, is is T. T stand for transparency. Yes, go ahead, please. Are you saying something, RP? All right. Okay, no one saying anything. Okay, T for transparency. T like that. All right. Okay, now let's animate it. Okay, let's animate it. So you guys can help me think how to animate this star. So what would you like to do with the star?
Make it go big.
Make
From small to big.
All right, that's a good idea. All right. So if we want to make the star from the small to big, right? So which transform should we use? Which transform should we use? We have 5 transform, right? To play with right here.
Scale.
Scale.
Very good.
Scale.
Very good.
Scale.
Okay, so we do scale, right? So the first one, right? If we want to work with scale, so we have to activate the method of animation in Adobe After Effects. They using the timeline and keyframe method. All right. So we're going to have to add a keyframe for in order to animate something. Okay. How do we do that? The first step, we start with clicking on the stopwatch here to activate the keyframe. All right. So for example, right now, my current time indicator is start from the beginning at 0, right? And then I activate the scale, okay? Activate the scale. So when I click on it, this the stopwatch, it turned blue, and then it give me a diamond. The diamond is called keyframe, okay? So you can see the diamond appear on the timeline. So that means at the beginning, it's going to look like this, okay? Now we're going to move the current time indicator to the end, okay? So you want to make it bigger or smaller?
Bigger, bigger.
All right,
Big, big, big.
we want to make it bigger, right? You have a few ways to do it, right? You can do it visually by clicking and hold down your shift key, all right, to scale it up like that, like that. Or you can change the number right here, okay? So you can see right now I scale it up for 304%, but I do not like 304. I want exactly 300 precisely. So I can just punch in the number and then I press 300, enter. So now I got exactly 300%, okay? And you can look at my current time indicator here. So the first one, I have a keyframe at the beginning, right? And then right now I have a keyframe at the end, okay? So now I can test this animation, okay? So I can press the space bar to test the animation. So now you can see the object is getting bigger, right? In 3 seconds, because the first keyframe is right here, okay? And the last keyframe is at 3 seconds. So that means the star will transform bigger, you know, through the time, 3 seconds, like that. So how it look? It look good? Look as you expected?
Yes, looks cool, looks cool.
Very good.
Smooth.
Okay, what else you like to animate this? What else you like this animation will look like?
Honey's go.
Sorry? Could you repeat again? Sorry, I cannot hear well.
The star after increase go right.
Right. So the star after increase, what will happen? Is go away or something?
Go to the right.
Oh, go to the right. I see. So after the star was increased, right? Like this, right? And it's go to the right. Uh-huh. So,
Yes.
or should we let the star, moving from the left to
Spin.
right?
Spin.
Something like that. Oh, you want spin too? Okay. All right. Let's do one at a time.
Spin into the right.
Okay. Let's do one at a time. Right now, star is on the center, right? And okay, let me move the star to the left a bit. All right. You see what happened? If I move the star to the left, right? I can the what kind of transform is involved in order to make the star moving from left to right? What kind of transform should we use?
Position.
Very good.
Position.
Thank you. Position. So that means now at the beginning, right? I want to activate position by clicking on the stopwatch right here. Okay. And then now I'm going to move the star to the left first, right? So when I move the star, I can move it up, down like that. Or if I want to constrain, make sure it's level, 100% level, I have to hold down my shift key. So for example, like this, when I hold down shift key, it just goes straight to the center. See? So if I drag it and hold down my shift key, it just go, straight 100%, right? So this is the beginning, right? And then I want to move it to the right hand, right? When it's growing bigger. So then I have to move my current time indicator to the right hand, right? That the third second that I need. And then I move the star to the right hand like that. Okay. So now I can press the space bar and test my animation. So now you can see the star getting bigger, right? And it's moving from left to right, okay? And then now you want to score, right? You want to rotate, right? Okay. Let's see how, okay, we're going to activate the rotation. So you can see when I adding the parameter, the transform into the star, I do it one at a time. Do not try to do everything simultaneously. You're going to confuse. So do it one at a time, right? So right now you can see, oh, I like the way it's growing, right? And I like the way it's moving. But maybe, I want to rotate. Uh-huh. So if I want to rotate, how many times, you want the star to rotate in 3 seconds? How many times?
Five.
5 times.
Uh,
Okay, let's try 5 times. So, okay, I have to move the current time indicator to the beginning, right? And then now I activate the rotation, okay? And then the rotation will start from 0x, right? 0 time. And then if I want to rotate 5 times, across the screen in 3 seconds. So I move the current time indicator to the end, right? And then I'm going to change the number here from 0 to 5 and then enter. Now I'm going to press spacebar to, to preview that what it look like. How you like it? So it's rotate 5 times across the screen. You think it's too fast or too slow?
I think too fast.
Too fast. So how many times you want? This is 5 times. It's way too fast.
Okay, let's make it one. I want it to have a complete turn.
Okay. So you want to complete one rotation in 3 seconds, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we move it to the end, right? And instead of 5x, we change it to be 1x. Okay. Now let's play. So you get a perfect 360-degree in 3 seconds. What do you think? It's still too much?
Looks nice.
All right, look nice. Okay. And what?
I have a question.
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Uh, how do you change color? Like
How
for
do
first
you
time.
change the color, right?
Okay,
Okay.
red to blue.
Okay, so that is not change the color, right? If you want to change the color of the star itself, right? So you can, just say click, you select the content, right? In this case here, your content is color, right? So you can see right here, okay? So now let me show you. So the first one that we take a look, we take a look at transform, right? So now we want to change the color of this star, okay? So we take a look at the content, and then in the content you have a few things in here. Actually, you have a lot, but the something you need to focus on is the fill. So the fill of the color is red right now, right? So what you like to do, you need to add the keyframe. You need to activate the keyframe. So I activate the keyframe right here. You see, I activate. So it will remember the red color. And then I rotate this to the end, right? And then I activate another keyframe here. And I want to change the color. Click on the color. And I want to change the color to blue. So I click OK. Now you can see the first keyframe is red, the last keyframe is blue. So now you see what happened. So the color will morphing.
Wow!
Oh, sorry. The color will morphing from one color to
Very
another.
cool.
You like it?
That is very cool.
Thank you. So you can play around with that too. So now I want this star, right, to appear. Okay, to appear, nice smoothly, in 1 second. How do we do that? Anyone can help me to do?
Sorry, what?
Can you repeat? Sorry.
I would
Can you repeat?
like I would like your help to make this star, right, to appear. Right now the star is, already appear,
Oh,
but I want
opacity.
the star to fade in, from nothing to be the star
Fade in.
in 1 second.
Oh, nak macam dia disappearing keluar.
Yeah, and then it's appear for 1 second, and then it's disappear in 1 second, because we have 3 seconds, right? So 1 second to appear and stay, 100%, and then after that disappear in another second. Can you do that?
Is it the opacity?
Okay, let's go. Okay, let's then we close the content, right? And then we go to activate the opacity stopwatch, right? Okay. Okay, let me activate the stopwatch keyframe at the beginning, right? So right now the stopwatch is showing 100%, right? I want this star to be disappear first, right? And appear in 1 second. So what the next step should I do?
Drag,
The
drag,
time
Sorry?
drag the time frame.
Yeah,
to 1 second.
drag the current time indicator, right, to 1 second, right? So right here, 1 second, and then we add the keyframe there, right? Okay, and then what else? I want to stay there for another second. I mean, stay 100% for another second. So I drag it to second 2, right? And add another keyframe, right? And then I want it to start fading away to the last second, right? But right now I add 4 keyframe already, but the star not change at all. So what did I do wrong?
Need to change the opacity to 0.
Okay,
The value.
which keyframe should I use to change the opacity to 0?
The 0 seconds.
The 0 second. Very good, RP. Is it your name RP, or should I call you RP?
Correct, correct. RP, RP. His name.
RP, okay.
Can you call me Han?
No,
Han.
RP.
All right, okay. So I change the opacity to 0. Now you see, very good, RP. Your star is gone. Now let's play. You see that?
Wow.
But the star not disappear yet. So can you help, Zach? How to call your name, Saki or something?
Aki.
Okay, Saki. So what should I do, Saki, to make this star disappear in the last second?
The okay, to make the last bit disappear,
Yeah.
I think you go to the last second.
Okay, so I move the current time indicator to the last second, right? Right? And then I change the opacity, yeah,
Yes.
to 0. Yeah. Enter. Right? Something like that?
Chai.
Chai. Very good. You speak Thai. All right. Okay. So that's what it look like. Look nice. Very good.
So nice.
Yes. Okay. All right. So you think, can you do it by yourself? Yes or no? You think you remember?
I will try my best.
You understand, right? Okay.
I
But
understand.
yeah, before it's not
Something say
done.
him, master.
Yeah, it's not done yet though. I'm going to show you something else a bit. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I'm going to start over again. I'm going to remove the star. Okay. I'm going to remove this star here. Or maybe I still use this star right now. Right. Right. Okay. Let me remove it. Right. Let me remove it. Just so the way to remove it, right? What you can do, you select the layer and you hit backspace or hit delete on your keyboard and it's gone. All right. So that's the way it works. Okay. So now I'm going to bring in, maybe I just use the box right here. I'm going to make a square. Okay. So you see, when I make a box, right, it look like that. I can make like a rectangle box. But if I want to make a square box, right, I have to hold down my shift key. You see? So when I hold down my shift key, you see what happened? The box is constant perfect. You can apply it to for the circle as well. Okay, so I'm going to make this box right here. But the problem is, if I rotate the box, right, the box will rotate like this. Why?
The anchor point.
Oh, yes, you're right. Okay. Now we have to adjust the anchor points, right? So you can adjust the anchor point by adjust this number right here. Or I have a shortcut for you. You can paste the Y on your keyboard. Okay. You look at the cursor carefully. If you paste the Y, you see what happened? The cursor is changed. And then when you click on the anchor points, right, you can click on the anchor point like that and drag the anchor point to the center of your object visually like that. And then you can press V again, So now the anchor point is become a center like that. Okay. So that is the anchor point modification by using the shortcut Y on that. Okay. So, okay, now I'm going to show you something. Yeah, when we animate this object. Okay, so I'm going to animate the object is from one side to another side. Okay, so one side right here, I animate the position, click on P, right? And then I move the timeline to the last one, and then look carefully, huh? I move the current time indicator to the last frame. And then instead of clicking the keyframe first, I didn't do the clicking the keyframe. what I'm doing, right? I just moving this object, you know, visually. And then you see what happened. The keyframe automatically generate by itself. So that is another way that, you know, After Effects can assist you to work faster, right? Now, when you look at this, so you can see the object is moving from one side to another side, right? Okay. And if you look closer, okay, if you look closer, you're going to see something here. You see a little dot here, okay? Okay, let me zoom in closer so you can see the dot closer. So can you see a little dot? Okay, maybe I change the background, you know, so you can see clearer. I come to composition setting and then change the background to black. Okay, now I think you can see clearer. Can you see little dot there, right? Each dot is represent a frame. Okay, each dot represent a frame. And you can see the distance between each frame equal, you know, equal amount and distribute across to the screen. Okay, you can see each dot, you know, distribute equally amount across the screen. Okay, like that. Okay, now the art of animation is to imitate the natural. When you say it look nice, look cool, because it's similar to you something that you see in real life. So if that's the case, you probably want to have your animation look most likely like a nature, something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to make another box for you. So I'm going to make a copy of this. Copy, select the layer I want, right? And then I go to edit, copy, right? And then I can press like that. So I'm going to have like, you know, two of them. And then I like to, you know, move it maybe a bit lower. So I have to move the X, Y, right? To make it lower like that. So I can punch in the number here, 800 pixel. So it's moving lower 800 pixel. And then I go to the end, right? And I want to move it lower as well. So I type 800, enter. So now I move it lower. Then I like to, you know, change the color of the box instead of red here. So I want the color to be, you know, to be green. Okay. So now I can have two boxes, right? So what I like to show you, I like you to compare which one is better. Okay. So now you can see this object is moving from left to right at the same speed, same duration. Okay. But what I'm going to do with the red one, okay? I'm going to add something called ease in and ease out, right? The technique is one of the animation technique, a popular animation technique. This technique is imitate the real life object. For example, is you guys have a bicycle? You know how to ride a bicycle? Or do you have an electric fan at home, right? So when you turn on the fan, right, what happened to the fan? The fan moving slowly, right, before it gain up to speed faster. And then when you turn it off, the fan is going slow down before it stops. The fan is not suddenly stop, right? So this is the way that, we're going to imitate that. So we will work in the position, right? So on the first position, we're going to add something called keyframe assistant, and we're going to say easy out. Okay, easy out. Okay. And then we move the current time indicator to the end, right? And then we click here, and then we add, oh, sorry. We choose easy in, okay? Now, what I like you to take a look first, right? Okay, you can look at, you see what happened between the red and green. Okay, can you see the difference?
Yes, very cool.
Okay, so
More smooth.
which one you like better between the red and the green?
The red.
Red.
All right, so the red, right? If you look at the the frame here, right, you can see the frame is congested at the end, at the beginning, and very spread out at the end, at the middle, and very tight at the end, right? So this means the in the beginning, right? The frame, each frame is very close to each other. So that means it's traveling very slow. And then the distance between each frame is greater at the middle. So it means it's moving faster at the center. And then it slow down again at the end. So that's why it appear like this. Both of the object hit the living and reach to the destination at the same time. The only time that different is the in between the times. Okay. Okay. So this is one technique that to make this animation look more interesting. Okay. And now what I like to show you here, right? I like to show you the animation of this, right? You can also change the name, you can change the name by clicking here and rename it. So I can rename this is red, and I can rename this is green, something like that. So you can, you can easily to recognize. Mhm. Something like that, right? Red and green. Okay. Now you can see here, right? We do the animation in position. We have only one keyframe. Oh, sorry, we have two keyframe only. One here at the beginning, right? And one here at the end. Okay. How are we going to add more keyframe, right? So for example, now instead of it's going straight like that, I want the box, right, to, to maybe stop by the ground, right? Stop by the ground, maybe somewhere here. Okay. So what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to add another position keyframe by dragging down like that. Like that. Okay. So now you see it have some curve going on, right? Now what you look, okay, let's take a look. I can turn off the green one right now by clicking the eye on here to turn on and off. Okay, now we focus on the red one, and pray. So now you can see the box is moving, right? Moving to the ground and bouncing up, right? But does it look really like it's moving to the ground and bouncing up, or it look like it's falling to the ground and bouncing up? Yes or no?
I don't understand.
Okay. What the box look like right now? The box look like airplane, right? The airplane landing and the airplane taking
Yes.
off. Doesn't feel like the box is falling to the ground and bouncing back, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Not natural.
right. So the reason it look like that because you see the curve here. You see the curve. The curve is so smooth. You see. So how we fix that? If we want to make the box is look like the box is, the box is moving or the box is falling. Okay. So you can see you can adjust the handling right here. Okay. You can adjust the handling like that. You see. But when you adjust the handling here, right? Another hand is look awkward. Okay. So what you should do, right? You can press Alt key, the alternate key on the keyboard, and then you move the hand up. You see? Oops, sorry. Do it again. Pressing the Alt key and move the hand up, and then release your mouse, right? And then you can release your Alt key. Now you can adjust it, you know. Okay, so what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to adjust this to make it look like the box is bouncing, okay, to the ground, and then it jump up a bit, and then it's right there. All right, okay. So now let's take a look at the box right here. So it look like the box bouncing, right?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, but the box is still doesn't look natural because when the box is bouncing, the box is just really level, it's like UFO. So you don't want to make it look like UFO. You want to make it look like a box, right? So I'm going to add something more. We're going to add rotation onto that. So we add a rotation of the red box, right, at the beginning. And then I like to add, maybe only okay, one round. Okay, one round, one X. Okay, now you see what happened?
Nice. So nice.
All right. Okay, so it's look good, right? So the box is bouncing. Then what I like to add more, right? I can add even more realistic by add motion blur onto that because something moving, if it moving fast, it will be blurry. If it moving slow, it will be less blur. All right. So we're going to add this icon right here, motion blur. So when I click on it, you see the object is blurry right now. Okay. So I just leave it on. Okay. And then you see what happened. Make sense?
Looks nice.
All right. Very good. But when you look at the box bouncing, right? Okay. So you can even do fine tune it, you know. You see the box is a bit jump into the ground a bit, yeah. So you could also doing or playing with scale, with the principle of animation a bit on that as well. Okay, now you guys have any question about the technique today?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you show how you bring out the frame?
How what could you repeat again question?
Can you show us how you bring out the frame?
Bring out the frame. You
Yeah.
mean that spiral like that? This thing?
Yes, yes.
Oh, so what you do, right? You pause it, right? And then you click on the object. You will see the spiral. You know, both of them. You see, both of them. This one, you also see that spiral. You can also adjust it to make it curve like that,
Okay.
like
Thank you.
that. Yeah, something like that. I can add the motion blur on both subject, right, as well. I can even change the shape of it through, you know. All right. Okay. So now this is all the basic transform. I would like you to get used to with that so you can imagine what would you like to animate, you know, your work on something like that. And the next one, right? I like to talk about the concept of animation. Okay. So if you look at the Google Classroom, right, you will see the slide. You will see the slide. Yeah. You cannot do not have any class, right? Because we're going to spend about 2 hours. I think right now is about 1 hour something. So maybe we're going to spend another 20 minutes for that. You're not going anywhere, right? Yes or no?
No,
Perfect.
not going anywhere.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's take a look at this slide right here. You can download the slide. The slide is actually this theory is very old. Okay, it's very old. It's come from the book, you know, by Ori Johnson and Frank Thomas. Uh-huh. So both of them working for Walt Disney. Uh-huh. You know Walt Disney, right? Uh-huh. So for the Walt Disney, right? This is the book. You know, it's called Illusion of Life. So basically, the animation is the illusion of life. They try to imitate, make you believe this creation is life. Uh-huh. So you give life to Pinocchio, you give life to Mickey Mouse, you give life to the character, you give life to anything. All right. So there are the total of the 12 principle of animation. So if you click on this link right here, right? I think yeah, you can jump to the link, and then when you jump into the link, right, you will see the book. Okay, the book is quite old. During that time, they do not have electronic publishing yet. So basically, the book itself is like you know, a paper book. Yeah. So you can take a look at the book. You know, that talking about how Disney invented the principle of animation. All right, something like that. All right. So the book is quite big, so you can take time to look at it. Right. Okay. And then now we don't have much time, so we go, you know, we go on the idea slowly. um we're talking about the idea of how to make your animation look good. Uh-huh. So you can access the video by yourself. Uh-huh. But I'm going to just go roughly about the idea that you can integrate into your animation. The first idea is called squat and stretch. Okay, squat and stretch. So if you look at the squat and stretch, it's going to be something like this.
So the first principle is squash and stretch. This is the principle that
Can you hear the video voice?
No.
Can you play again?
Okay, let me play.
Animated objects will get longer or flatter to emphasize their speed,
Can you
momentum.
hear
No,
the
you need to
video?
share the audio.
Okay, let me reshare again. Yeah, I think when I share the screen, I do not share the audio for you guys. Okay, let me try to share again. Stop sharing and then share. Okay, share sound, optimize video clip. Okay, hopefully it worked this time.
Momentum, weight, and mass. Here's a bouncing ball that has squash and
Yes,
stretch.
not here.
Okay, all
Hey
right.
guys, so I decided to make a video series dedicated to the 12 principles of animation, as described by the legendary animators Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. So the first principle is squash and stretch. This is the principle that animated objects will get longer or flatter to emphasize their speed, momentum, weight, and mass. Here's a bouncing ball that has squash and stretch. And here is one without squash and stretch. See the difference? The amount that an object squashes and stretches says something about its mass. The more squash and stretch, the softer the object. The less squash and stretch, the stiffer the object. This first one looks like a water balloon, and the second one probably would be a bowling ball. Squash and stretch applies to characters too. Look at how this figure is stretching from the speed that he's coming down with, and then he squashes after he lands, before settling in his pose. You can also use squash and stretch to exaggerate facial expressions. Let's add some squash and stretch to this face. When his eyes are closed, his face is squashed, and when he opens his eyes in disbelief, his face stretches up and settles back to normal. It's very important to keep the volume of the object consistent. This is what a lot of people mess up with when they're first trying to do squash and stretch. They'll elongate the ball like this and flatten it like this. This is what you should not do. The overall volume of the ball must be the same. So as the ball gets longer, it also gets narrower. When it gets flatter, it also gets wider. The same goes with cubes. If you're going in with one line, the other lines must go in the opposite direction. The cube should start out narrow, get flat, get narrow again, and then rest. In-betweening with cubes is easy because you can measure the line in between the two lines and then connect them to make the cube. If you master squash and stretch with cubes, the next step is to try to do it in 3D. Another important note is that the ball does not have to be stretching the entire time that it's falling. When it's just starting to fall, it should have its normal shape for the most part. And then when it's just about to hit the bottom, that's when it has the most stretch. So do not overdo squash and stretch in this sense. Alright, the second
All right. So the first right principle is squat and stretch. So this means you can when you come back to this part here, right? You can also working on when the object is hit the ground, right? So you can straight it up, or you can even adjust the position itself, make it more precise. For example, like if I like to adjust the P, right, for position. Right now the keyframe is right there, you see. But the problem is, you see this part right here, right? The object itself is not landing properly. It's just right into the ground. So maybe if you like to adjust this a bit, right? So we can modify two things, right? We can modify the angle of that, and also we can modify the size of the or the scale of the objects. All right. So okay, let me demonstrate that part right here. Okay. So you can see rotation right here. Okay. So now we do not have any rotation angle right here, right? But you see at this point right there, right? The one that have the keyframe on the position, right? We have the amount of degree right here, 218.9. Okay. So what I can do here, I can adjust this. When I adjust it, you see it's automatically give me the keyframe, right? So I can adjust it, to make it closer to the level of the ground like that. Like that. Or I can just punch in number right here. say 180, enter. So now it's going to hit perfectly on that part right there, okay? And then what else you like to do, right? Maybe you can working on the scale, okay? On the scale, what you can see something here, right? You can see the chain, the constant proportional. So when we want to scale it, right, it will adjust the proportional, the width and the height, proportionally, okay? But if you want to squat and stretch it, right? So this means you will need to unchain this part right here, okay? So we haven't do the scaling before, right? So I can start adding the keyframe of the scale right, right, somewhere here, okay? If I want to make a squat and stretch, so I add the keyframe one there, okay? And then maybe I adjust this a bit, maybe, start, okay? And then when it hit to the ground, like that, right? When it hit to the ground, what I like to do on the scaling, right? I like to unchain it, yeah? And then I like to, to make it squeeze onto the ground like that. So on the rule, right? When you squeeze it, right, you have to expand it as well. You have to expand it a bit like that, right? And then what else should I do? Should right now it's a bit off the ground, right? So this means I have to go back to position. I have to hit P, right? And then the X or Y I have to move. If I want to move it to touch the ground, X or Y. Hello, you guys still there? The X-axis or
Y.
the Y-axis should I adjust if I want to make this shape here, hit to the ground. Right now it's floating a bit, right? So they have two number, X and Y.
Y.
The Y.
Y, very good. So I adjust the Y number, you see? So the Y is vertical. So I make it hit right there. So now you can see what happening. So it's maintain the shape proportion from the beginning, right? Then when it come here, right, it starts squeeze, right, and stretch it out, right? But I want to make it start squeeze somewhere here too, right? And before that, okay, let me go back to scale again. I press S to scale. So you can see the keyframe right there, right? If I want to jump right into that keyframe, I can click the left and right arrow here. So I click the left arrow. You do not want to add too much keyframe, without necessarily, because you're going to be very confusing if you have too many keyframe. So on this one, right, I add one keyframe here, right, before if I squeeze it, right, it's going to be, squeezed all the way from the beginning, right, and it starts squeezing up right here, okay? So maybe I can do that a bit, yeah? So I can move it, okay, let me move this back here to that keyframe, right? And then what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to squeeze it a bit like that, and then stretch it a bit like that, okay? So now you see what happened. So it's morphing. Oh, that's no good, right? Because the shape of my object is changing. So what should I do? I need to
Keyframe the mouse. Keyframe the size.
right. So what should I do, right? Basically, I have to click additional keyframe to maintain everything at 100% before it start morphing. You see, like that. Okay. So now I can start morphing it without effect because I have one keyframe right here, right? So this keyframe is going to be 100% by 100%. And then the next keyframe I can do morphing, right? The same thing here. If I squeeze it there, right? And then when it move it back, it's crazy, right? So I want to make it come back to the normal shape, somewhere here. So I have to add keyframe, and then I can adjust the width and the height to back to 100 and the 100 right there. Okay, like that. Okay, so that means I'm going to adjust this part, to 100. And then now I can play around with that keyframe to squeeze it and stretch it, right? And then I know when it come here, it's back to normal. And then it's rotate back to perfect. All right, you get the idea, right? Okay, now let's take a look. So
Nice.
make it feel like a bubble. And you know how I feel? I feel when it deform and is reformed back to the normal shape, right? It's a bit too long, so make it look like a bubble. So maybe I can adjust this keyframe, closer to each other. For example, like when it start deform from normal to, the flat shape, right? To make it closer to here. For example, I can adjust the keyframe like that, by dragging like that. And then I can adjust this, make it closer. All right. Now you can see what it looked like. What do you think?
Better.
Right. Yes, you can play around with that. All right. But for the principle of the animation, right? I already combined that as a video. So you can take a look at this, right? So we have homework for you, so you can create a simple animation like that, you know simple animation like rotate, drop some object to the ground and bounce, like that. But your challenge is you have to listen all 12 principle of Disney animation, okay? And then apply it to your bouncing ball right here. Can you do that? Quiet.
Right.
Uh-huh. You can give a try. You might not done right at the first time, but do not worry. I think if you can do it, like 10% of it. I think that should be good enough already. Uh-huh. Because you don't have a background in animation at all, right? You guys don't have a background in art or animation before, right? So what is your background? What is your expertise? What is your passion?
Business.
Business marketing.
Marketing. Wow. Okay, nice. So you can use this animation knowledge to apply to your marketing technique. Hopefully. And anything else besides marketing? You guys come from the same major? Everyone from marketing major?
No, some of us are from video production.
All right. For your video production, I think it will be even more useful, right? If you could integrate this technique into your video. I think that will be nice as well, right? All right. I think we have about 1 minute left. Yeah, for the next time. Yeah. So we'll come exactly at the same time. All right. Okay. So you guys have any question?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
On your black screen, right?
Yes.
There's that frame thing to know where like the subtitles go. How do you activate it?
On my which screen? Sorry. Could you repeat your question again?
I think it's the
On
safety
the
borders.
yeah,
Sorry.
on the After Effects.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead, please.
After Effects.
Yes, After Effects. Yes.
Yeah, how do you activate the safety border?
How you what?
Enable the safety borders.
Oh, I see. Okay. The safety border is right here. Can you see my circle? It's next to the RGB icon here. So when you click on that crosshair, right, you're going to see something called title action save area. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you click on that bullet, right? If you click once, it show up, and if you do it again, it's gone. That what is your question, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay, right. So you have After Effect in your house, right? In your computer. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Um, right now, what you should do, right? You should save it. I show you how to save and export. All right. So you go to File and Save As, right? So you save as your project as maybe your animation. Animation. Okay, I'm going to upload this project to Google Classroom in case you want to review it by yourself, so you can see, all the what I did on it, right? Okay, and then after you save project, right, you want to export as a video, so you can go to File menu and then you go to Export, right? In general, you can use the Adobe Media Encoder queue to export it. Uh-huh. Do you have that on your computer?
Some of us have.
All right, okay. If some of you do not have, right, maybe you can obtain by using your school ID, yeah, to access Adobe Creative Cloud, right? And install Adobe Media Encoder on your computer. Yeah, something like that. Okay, sorry. All right. After you export it, right, you can see Adobe Media Encoder will launch it onto your machine, right? And then after that, right, it's supposed to show you on the queue right here. Okay. If it's not, okay, I think it's take time. Yeah. If it's not showing on your queue, you can add the source like that, and then you can go to, all right, okay, you don't need to, it's automatically add right here. Okay, you see that? It just takes some time. You have to be patient and wait a bit. All right, so when it show up, right, what you should do, you click on the preset, right? It's going to show you some example. It takes some time. Yeah, right now it's just taking a bit. Yeah, so after it show up, right, okay, it's going to give you a preview of your animation like that. Okay, So what you can do, right? You can first, you can either my recommend codec or format, right? Is H.264 or H.265. Yeah, it's up to you. You can use this one H.264 or H.265. So the default is H.264, and then where the preset is match size, match source, high bitrate. So you can keep that as your reference. And then where you want to output your file, this is very important because some of you output it and you cannot find your file. So if you want particular location, you can click on it, right? And then select your destination uh, folder, something like that, right? So in this case here, I'm going to name it as SE demo, right? And then I save it, right? And you can expect your file size is about 3 megabytes. And then you all set, you click OK. And then after that, right, you see the little green button right here, right? You press it. So when you press it, right, it start record rendering and then it's done. That's it. Quick, right? And then after it's done, right, you can take a look at on your folder. Your file, it should be right here. So you can give it to your friend or send it somewhere. Yeah, it's up to you. So that is the file look like. Yeah, so this is your animation, something like that. Okay, got it?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, good thing that you respond. All right, if you have any question, feel free to ask me, along the week, as well as I'm going to post the recording of this video on YouTube and then send the link to you so you can review it if you need. Sound good? And then,
Thank you so much.
right? Is there someone saying something?
I said thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're welcome. When we going to see you again next time? Do you know?
Don't know.
All right.
No.
I
Really?
believe we're going to meet again
Oh, yes.
on I'm not quite sure. It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday,
Second
1 o'clock,
November.
something like that. All
Yeah.
right.
2nd November, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah.
I think you should have enough time, right, to create 3-second animation. Yeah. Just apply the squat and stretch first, and then we can try something else next week. But you can watch the video, the whole video. It's about 20-minute video. All right. Okay. If you don't have any question else, yeah. So you can have fun with Adobe Animation, Adobe After Effects. All right. Any question? Hello? Someone there?
Sorry?
Can say again?
Yeah, do you have any question? If not, the class will be dismissed.
Oh, no question. No question.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay. See you guys next Wednesday then. Take care.
See you. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. Enjoy to meet you guys as well. See you. Bye.
Thank you.
See you. Thank you. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.